Does Josh Giddey maybe have more leverage in his contract extension talks with the Chicago Bulls than initially thought? Well, Jake Fischer just reported that the Golden State Warriors have reached out in regards to sign and trade opportunities on Josh Giddey and also a contract update potentially on Coby White. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, hosted by Hayes, your number one spot for all things Chicago Bulls.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. So Jake Fischer was just live over on Bleacher Report, and he talked about some interesting Bulls tidbits. For one, the first one we're going to talk about is that Jake Fischer reported that there have been at least up to 4 teams that have actually reached out to Josh Giddey and his agency about potential sign-in trades to get Josh Giddey to their teams. Now, this is the first time that we've heard this reported. We have not necessarily heard this before at all. We have not heard that teams had reached out. Jake Fischer reported that not only have teams reached out, but that the Bulls have basically told every team that they want to maintain or keep Josh Giddey long-term, and that reportedly teams do not like working with the Chicago Bulls, that they don't want to work and talk with the Chicago Bulls. And so that's an interesting part of this, right? If this is true, and I want to maintain here that this is an if. Jake Fischer is not always 100%, as no scooper is, but if this is true, and that the Golden State Warriors and other teams, he said many Eastern Conference teams and the Golden State Warriors specifically have reached out in regards to a Josh Giddey sign and trade, but that the Bulls are turning it away. To me, if I'm Josh Giddey's agent and I know that gives you a little bit more leverage in regards to what you can possibly get in this deal and could be contributing to the standoff between Josh Giddey and the Chicago Bulls as well on this deal. Now, Jake Fischer said a lot. I can only recap so much of it, but even went on to say that the Bulls, after trading Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey, want to save face, things like that. But this is really interesting to hear. This is the first to hear that not only the Golden State Warriors, but as much as 3 other Eastern Conference teams have reached out about a Josh Giddey sign and trade. To me, tells me that what a lot of people are reporting as no market for Josh Giddey may not potentially be correct. Now, again, take it all with a grain of salt. It's an interesting conversation as it stands right now. He is the only person reporting this. We have not seen this substantiated by any other outlet. So, of course, there's the questions on how legitimate is this, but this could be something that is also contributing to that standoff. And that the Giddey it combined with if there is more of a sign and trade market for Josh Giddey than initially thought, and with the risk of taking the qualifying offer, this could very well give Josh Giddey more leverage than he was initially thinking that it was. And hearing that teams don't want to do business with the Chicago Bulls, and Jake Fischer even went so far as to say that if Josh Giddey was an unrestricted free agent, he would have a much more robust market than what people are giving him credit for. And that could be why his agent and him are standing so firm on their request of $30 million, mainly due to maybe he has more of a market than what we're thinking. We'll get to the Coby part here in a second. We're going to focus on the Josh Giddey aspect of this right now. It's just an interesting thing to take a look at. Old man Jay says they better not trade him for Kuminga. They better not, bro. They better not. Film by Fresh says, wow, it's very, very interesting how this is coming out now. Why would teams not want to work with the Bulls? We literally give away assets because the Bulls may have learned from that, much like they've learned in this negotiations. But I think it's more so that the Bulls, they want to keep Josh Giddey. I think that's what it comes down to. They want to keep Josh Giddey. And, they just want him at a cheaper price, which teams are now starting to call. Why do the Bulls have such a bad rep with other teams in this league? I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think it's just that the Bulls are stubborn. And the Bulls, keep in mind, part of the reason the Bulls weren't able to move Zach LaVine, while people reported it as there's no market for Zach LaVine, part of the reason they didn't move him is because they were asking too high. And for a while there, they didn't want to move him when he did have value. So I think it's things like that. The Bulls just seem like they are a very difficult team to work with. We're about to get fleeced. Well, again, keep in mind, the Bulls are turning down those trade requests as it stands right now. So there you go on that one. So interesting part about Josh Giddey, the Golden State Warriors have been a team that have reached out to Josh Giddey and his agency per Jake Fischer in regards to a sign and trade. And as many as 3 other Eastern Conference teams have also reached out in regards to putting out fillers with Josh Giddey and his agent. Just an interesting wrinkle in all of this. But one of the things that Jake Fischer also talked about on his live stream over on Bleacher Report that was surprising was in regards to Coby White's free agency. Jake Fischer said that basically Coby White and his agents have already kind of made it kind of known, I guess through what they can, that he's going to be expecting more than $30 million, or at least $30 million in his contract, ploy for the Chicago Bulls heading into next offseason. And I tell you what, I tell you what, this could be why the Bulls are hesitant. Because you got to keep in mind, like, if you know you can get Josh Giddey for cheaper, and you're going to have to turn around and pay Coby White $30 million the following year, keep in mind, he's not restricted, he's unrestricted. You may want to save a little bit on Josh Giddey's contract where you can. And that's the thing that could be happening here. So hearing that Coby wants, and when you look around the league, right? Mikal Bridges, for example, a player that's never been an all-star. I don't think he's ever been on an all-NBA team. He got well over $30 million. Emmanuel Quickly, $30 million. Jalen Suggs, $30 million. Coby, a player that has averaged over 20 points per game last season. I think he averaged 19 the year before that. A more proven scorer, has maybe more leverage than what Josh Giddey has in trying to get that $30 million. I told you guys before. Before. Starters in the NBA, $30 million is about to start being the aiming point that almost every starter in the NBA is looking for. About $30 million, $28 to $30 million is probably the goal of every starter in the NBA going forward. It just is. That's just what you're looking for at this point in time. If you're a starting caliber player in the NBA, are you going to be starting for the team you're signing with? A lot of players are going to be looking for $30 million. $30 million is becoming the new $19 million that it was about 5-6 years ago. And that's just what it comes. Just what the market is dictating. And as long as the market does dictate that, there are always going to be teams willing to pay for it. So it's just a really interesting situation to be in. And if it's more than 30 for Coby White, that's going to be now. If Coby balls out this season, he's coming into the season as the number 1 scoring option. Josh Giddey's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, but we know that Giddey's not going to always look to score as much as Coby can. But with that said, is that his role's not changing. If Coby averages 25, 26 points per game and becomes an all-star, even if he gets voted and gets more all-star votes, he's getting that $30 million. If Coby averages 25 points per game, he's getting that $30 million. Regardless of how you feel about Coby, the market is dictating this. If you average between 20 and 25 points per game and you're a starter in the NBA, you're getting $30 million. That's just it. That's just what it is. Now, maybe him and the Bulls can talk. They can negotiate. Maybe the Bulls can convince him of whatever vision that they're selling and get him to take a little bit less. But again, according to Jake Fischer, Coby and his agency are looking for $30 million. More than 30 for Coby. He has to have a crazy season this year. You're absolutely right, Fresh. He has to have a crazy season when it comes down to it. Bullshit with Quentin says, I swear in 7 years, the only person left will be Billy and the back room full of double bubble. That is crazy. Look, I got love for Coby, but 30 M's, come on, man. I don't think it's out that. Like, I think we gotta change our mindset on what $30 million is. $30 million is 15% of the salary cap, roughly. I could be a little off on that. Like I said, that's like $19 million 5-6 years ago. Like, that's how much the salary cap structure has changed in the NBA. Now, I think if you're thinking back when $30 million was the max, then yeah, of course. But $30 million isn't even the max of what Coby can make as a free, not even nearly the max of what he can make as a free agent. So yeah, $30 million is you're going to hear that $30 million number a lot more consistently than what you ever heard about it before. That's just the reality of where the NBA is going. Where does this stubbornness come from? AK or ownership? Seems like they've been this kind of stubborn for some time. Ownership is not as involved as people think. I can tell you that right now. Ownership doesn't give a shit. As long as you're not over the luxury tax, that's where ownership comes in at. Ownership doesn't care. Now, if the Bulls start losing money, losing revenue, then yeah, they'll care a little bit more. But the ownership is not going in over the day-to-day operation stuff of the Chicago Bulls. This is AK. It's AK. Golden State Warriors was going to draft Giddey before OKC picked him. You're absolutely right. That's another thing that Jake Fischer pointed out, that if Giddey would have been there at 7, they would have taken Josh Giddey there at 7. So Bulls got to stop playing. I applaud them for staying pat and being patient. However, nothing that they are trying to do works without Josh. Same with Coby. I hear where you're coming from there. If Giddey leaves, how would you like Trey Jones as our starting point guard? I mean, not really. I mean, Trey can start. I want to be clear there, but it's not a ceiling raiser. It's not even a floor raiser. It's more of a placeholder in that case. If that were to be the thing, he could be competent enough, but you're not really changing much there. If y'all don't want to pay $30 million, then you're going to hate when a superstar and they want $60 million per year. Absolutely, Quinn. You're spot on with that one. I would give Coby at least 15 to 18 mil. Bro, that's mid-level exception money now. Like, what do y'all got to update y'all thinking on contracts nowadays, bro? You got to update the thinking. Contract market has changed quite drastically. If the Bulls make the playoffs and not the play-in, then yes, give Coby his $30 million if he scores 24 plus points per game. If he scores over 24, you're giving him that regardless. Why would Golden State Warriors want Giddey when they got Steph as a starting point guard? Because the Golden State Warriors realize that the end is near. The end is near, bro. Like, keep in mind, Steph, Dre, Jimmy, 2 years left on all their contracts. That's it. At that point, you gotta start looking at your rebuild. And I think that if that's what the Warriors are looking at, that's what they're looking at. They're looking at what is the next phase. Let's get some talent in here for the next phase of whatever this team's going to be. Hayes, I reckon AK in the front office needs to apologize and repair relationships. Probably. You're probably not wrong on that one. Coby agent demanding and will get $32 million because of quickly J pull, etc. And there you go on that one. And that's that. When you give somebody a leg to stand on like that, you're not wrong. I'm more okay with paying Coby $30 million rather than Giddey. He's proven more, in my opinion. Hey, listen, and you're entitled to that opinion. That's fair. I don't mean that as like a throwaway on your opinion. No, that I think that's a fair and reasonable way to view it. We don't have any guards that impact the point guard like Giddey. Coby is a 2. You're not wrong. $30 million is fair value for Coby. Your analogy of AK's wanting to save dollars to afford Coby is right on. Please, let's get rid of Vooch for $21 million next year. Vooch is a free agent at the end. Or you're talking about next season, like this upcoming season, but that doesn't affect Coby. Coby can't re-sign until the end of next season. So Vooch is already off the books by then. So Vooch really isn't affecting re-signing Coby White really at all, because Vooch will already be off the books before Coby's extension or Coby's new contract even comes into play. So I don't think Vooch is really a big aspect of that at all. Just to be frank there. Are we sure AK not taking a nap that way? A deal not done yet? That's funny. AK is like, I think both sides are firmly just looking at this and trying to get what they want, and we'll see how that ends up shaking out. If we trade P. Willie to do the Bulls save money? It depends on what you get in the trade. Like, because you got to match most of the times than not, you're going to match salary. So now you could very well take back maybe expiring contract that's more this year, but maybe expires at the end of the season, and then you have more money next year. You can do something like that. But I don't think anybody's going to take Patrick Williams right now. I think that market has come and gone. He's going to be here is probably what's going to happen. If the Bulls trade P. Willie, just answer that. Did you ask that twice, or am I just having a stroke and didn't pay attention? FYI, Bulls have 58 and 60 biggest salaries if you took the top 2 from every team. Ouch. We give Coby $30 million. People will say we overpaid. We lose him for offering less, and people will say we cheap and never keep star. You're absolutely right. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't with this Bulls community. Honestly, I don't think any player on the Bulls should get over $30 million a year, especially not even making the playoffs. Well, that's not just on them. We don't but no, if you're a starter in the NBA, and I get what you're getting at. I want to be clear. What you're saying is perfectly valid, but that's not the NBA isn't that reasonable when it comes to contracts. It's not how it really works when you're negotiating in the NBA. But I definitely get the standpoint that you're attacking it from for sure. I wonder if they include Whack Trick Williams is crazy in a trade with Golden State. Well, listen, it's not happening. Like I said, per Jake Fischer, the Bulls have turned it away. So it's probably not happening. But it is just an interesting talking point that the Golden State Warriors did reach out in regards to that. So we'll see. But that's it. I wanted to bring this update. I felt like because it involved Josh Giddey and Coby White, that it was a pretty decent topic to go ahead and talk about, and we'll see what ends up happening when it comes down to it. The Coby thing, we got a little while. Coby does have a whole season to prove that. We'll see what happens with Josh Giddey if this is true, though. And I keep wanting to maintain if. And that's not a knock on Jake Fischer, it's just if. If this is true, and as many as 4 teams have reached out on the signing trade, Josh Giddey may have more leverage than people were initially giving it credit for. Again, take it with a grain of salt. Let's see if anybody from Chicago reports on that. But that's my time for today. Make sure you guys are following us at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. BullCentralPod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773 I almost gave the Bulls on 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. Like I like to end every episode on. Love you guys. Go Bulls. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.